Hi everybody, my name is Gabriel Somariba. I am a graduate student here at the Page Lab at the Florida Museum of Natural History's Ichthyology collections. This collection is the second largest in the United States. We have almost 2.5 million specimens representing 8,000 species. And in addition to my own personal research, which is revision of freshwater pufferfishes, I also help with some of the curatorial duties. So that involves rejarring specimens, identifying specimens, making the collection more accessible for visiting researchers, and just general maintenance. You know, a collection this big takes a lot of work to maintain. Museum collections preserve essentially a library of life. We have records throughout time and from around the world for a large number of fish species. And whether you are a taxonomist who is doing a revision of a certain group of fishes, or an environmental scientist who is studying how pollution has affected a population of fishes over decades, we have a wealth of resources here that are easy to access for any researcher interested in using them. So what do I recommend for people who want to see fish at some of Florida's state parks? Well, fish can be tricky, of course, because a lot depends on the water itself. Is the water clear? Is it full of tannins that stain it like a tea brown? Is it murky? Is it deep? But if you do want to see fishes, I would say the best bet is finding a shallow shoreline with a lot of vegetation, because there you can easily see some of for instance, the eastern mosquito fish is very common. People often mistake them for minnows, but they're actually more closely related to guppies. Sailfin mollies, another close relative of the guppy, that's a very attractive fish when you can find the males courting females in the warmer months. Bass are also, if you've ever been standing on a bank and you see a little a splash as if something just ran into the shore, that was probably a small bass going after a smaller fish in the weeds. But the main thing to do when you're trying to approach a fish at the shoreline is to stay low, because they're very sensitive to shadows, because they're very keenly aware of tall wading birds trying to hunt them. And just patience. Just like with fishing, if you just stand there or crouch and are still and quiet for a while, fish that may have left when they saw you 10 feet away from the shoreline will come back, and you can watch them feeding or fighting or doing any of the wonderful, interesting behaviors that make fish such a captivating organism. So if you look at this nice, healthy spring run, you can see that it's very messy. There's all different kinds of microhabitats. There's piles of leaf litter, there's dead logs, aquatic plants. All of these microhabitats are homes for a variety of different aquatic life. And you won't find this in a public spring where you have a lot of foot traffic coming through every day. Mostly what you get in those kinds of springs is open sand, which only a couple kinds of fish like to live over. So you can help the springs not only by being a responsible visitor, but also in your own home. So water is Florida's most precious natural resource, and all the water that we use comes from the Florida Aquifer, which is a giant reservoir of water in the limestone rock underneath Florida. There's no greater advertisement for Florida's freshwater fishes than Florida springs, where you can actually come and see them on their own terms, either snorkeling or scuba diving, and you can see, every aspect of their lifestyle. You can see sunfish breeding, you can see minnows schooling and feeding, you can see mullets leaping out of the water. Really, if there's anywhere you want to come to appreciate freshwater fish, it's the springs.